Welcome back to the Great American Rugby Story. My name?
I don't know. He's not wearing a name tag.
Last episode, I talked about the women's game of rugby in America. And upon research, I found that our problem isn't just our own. But before I get into that subject, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine World Cup final, USA versus England. Let's say England. America is handling business, winning scrums, dominating rucks. And at the end of the game, the Americans win the final, beating England for the World Cup final. That actually happened. USA versus England, 1991 Women's World Cup final, the first Women's World Cup final. And guess who won it? America! Yet again, just in the list of things that the women's game has done, that the men's game haven't. It's come to my attention that the problems that America has as far as funding and backing the women's game isn't exclusively our own. December 2021, 62 current and former Ireland capped women wrote a letter to the government explaining their loss of confidence in the rugby union itself. We write to you as a deeply discouraged group of current and former Irish women's rugby players, having sadly lost all trust and confidence in the IRFU and its leadership after historical failings. A letter to the government. They went on to say, the aim of this letter is to seek your support now to enable meaningful change for all levels of the women's game in Ireland, from grassroots to green shirts. A letter to the government. This letter came after Ireland's women failed to qualify for the next Women's Rugby World Cup. When you boil it down, their grievances are just about the same as ours here in America. Lack of support, lack of funding, lack of respect. But it's not just Ireland. It was Wales as well. In Wales, a group of 100 ex-international players wrote a letter to the government stressing for the union to do a better job of handling women rugby affairs, with members who said they cannot stand by and watch the game deteriorate any further. This isn't just an American problem, but those countries are working on a solution. What is America's solution? Last episode, I touched on what the XV Foundation was. Basically, I said that the fact that the women have to pay for their own trips to international rugby game is a joke. Has to be a joke. XV Foundation, established by Alicia Washington and Christine Sommer. And what this group is all about, I'll let the founders tell you.
Hi, I'm Christine Sommer.
And I'm Alicia Washington, and we are the founders of the 15s Foundation.
The purpose of our mission is to empower the Women's 15s program, giving us the potential to compete on the world stage. Our mission is to drive diverse funding and create a sustainable platform for future generations, really removing the financial burden from the players.
Rugby's given us so much, and so we believe it's time for us to give back so we can make sure that the future of women's rugby in America is bright and sees professional rugby as an outcome.
If you're looking to support us on our path to the World Cup in 2021 in New Zealand, then we encourage you to become a sustainable donor.
Take a look at the link in our bio and visit us at xvfoundation.com. We look forward to connecting with you.
So here's how you can support. Go to xvfoundation.com. Link will be in the description and bio.
To become a sustainable donor.
Buy some merch.
Buy some merch.
I got the socks because I'm a stepper. Watch my feet. You feel me? Attend women's rugby events.
Attend women's rugby events.
You know, part of our biggest problem as Americans is we desire for a better rugby experience, better rugby organization, better play, better results on the field. But we can't ask for anything different, and we're not willing to do anything different. The women's game put us forward immensely. Look at England. England put a lot of money and time into their women's game. Now the women's team is #1 in the world. That support, that energy matriculates to the men's team, who took it to the World Cup finals. Didn't win. Shout out to Chess and Kobe. Legacy of the Small Wingers is next. But we got to be real with ourselves here. If we allow USA Rugby to force, and that's what this is, force our women's teams to not only pay for their own trips, pay for their camp fees, housing on their trips, meals on their trips, to not allow them a way to supplement lost wages for taking off of work to represent all of us, we are going to fail and continue to fail. Because guess what? The women are the best team we have. And if this is how we decide to treat the best that we have, we deserve 100-point whackings. You want to make up some ground? We got to start right now. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Great American Rugby Story. I'll see y'all. Buy some merch.